So this week I have another viewer story for you guys, and this story is so crazy. Like, that's why I love like sharing stories or hearing other people's stories, because it's like, you may think that your dating life sucks and you have it bad, but then you hear somebody else's shit and you realize like it could be worse. I'm thankful that shit didn't happen to me. So thank you to the viewer who sent this story in. As always, if you ever want to share a story here on Storytime with Rikkii, you know the drill. Send it to me on Instagram, which I will link below, or email me storytimewithrikkii@gmail.com. I will link that below as well. And let's share together. So I'm going to get into this crazy story right now. Grab your popcorn, get your shit, and let's get to it. So this story goes as follows, right? Boy meets girl, right? That's how they all start. That is the start of our demise. No, I'm just playing. So boy meets girl, they get hooked up by like a mutual friend or something like that. And this woman in particular doesn't date often. She doesn't date a lot. She says that she's very particular about who she goes out with, and it's very rare that she connects with somebody, you know, and she's very independent, like bossy on her like really, I don't on nothing, you know, that type of woman. So when she connects with somebody, it means something to her. It's special to her. So we're gonna call this guy Brian, right, for the sake of privacy. So she says she meets Brian through a mutual friend and they instantly hit it off. You know what I mean? It's like a teenager land, right? Like texting all the time, like up on the phone till 3-4 in the morning, FaceTiming left and right. Like things are going well for her and Brian, right? So they go on several dates, but she said that one red flag that she noticed was that when they would go on dates, they would go fairly later in the evening, and they would always go to like really low-key spots like Denny's or like smaller cafes, like, and at a time or an hour where there's not really a lot of people in there. So she said like they would sit and talk for hours just like on the phone. The vibe was the same, the, you know, feelings was flowing, you know, but she was like, it was really weird to her that they would always go to like lower key spots. So she did kind of have that thought in her head that maybe he has a girlfriend or maybe he has a wife or something and he's hiding and doing something trifling, which usually they are, bitch. Our instincts never lie. Anyway, so, you know, she says she did kind of like recommend going like other places or like earlier in the day, and he kind of always like avoided it or brushed it under the rug, and you know, she didn't want to press too hard, so she just kind of left it what it is. So she said that one time that they were having a conversation, he was saying, you know, he goes to church and he's really into God, and you know, he goes to this amazing church, and so she is also into God, and she, you know, kind of like invited herself like, oh well, I would love to come with you, and you know, that would be such a cool experience. Like, you know, I'm always interested in looking and seeing new churches, and you know, I think it would be something fun to do together. And he kind of shut her down. Like, he was like, no, like church is like my thing, it's my own private time with God, and I don't want anybody like tagging along or coming with me. So she was kind of like, all right, then you then. I'm just playing. But she, no, really she was, but she was like, okay. Like, she said it kind of like threw her for a loop. She kind of took a step back, and she said that since then the dynamic kind of changed between the two of them, because she felt like, you know, like she was like, he was really aggressive with how he just kind of like shut her down, and she just, you know, it kind of changed their dynamic. So she said they would still talk, of course, just not as much, and they would still see each other, but not for like extended periods of time. Just shit changed, right? So she did say that he worked as like a carpenter, or like he did something with flooring or something like that, and he would go out of town and stuff for the weekends and stuff. So she said one time that he was out of town, like her friend called her and was like, hey, like are you with Brian? And she was like, no, I'm not with him, he's out of town right now. And she was like, okay, like I know I've only met him one time, but I swear that I just seen him on TV. And she's like, what do you mean you just seen him on TV? She was like, bitch, I just seen him on America's Most Wanted. Do you know what America's Most Wanted is? It's exactly what it sounds like. It is America's Most Wanted. Like, you are the most wanted person in America. And back in the day, it used to be a TV show, so they would just blast your shit all on television, your pictures, you know what I mean, all your crimes, and usually offering a pretty large reward for any information leading to your arrest. Like, anyway, so she's like, no, like, that is not possible, like, you know, in denial. And so she went and she did her own research, and sure enough, Brian's ass was #1 on America's Most Wanted criminals, bitch, for robbing banks. Ho, like, so every time he said that he was going out of town to, like, mold some floors or lay some marble, bitch, he was setting it off, bitch. Okay, he was motherfucking robbing. Okay, so he had robbed, like, he was like a notorious bank robber. He had robbed like 20 banks or some shit, like something crazy. You know, people get greedy. If you get away with robbing one bank, you should just really count your blessings and just keep it pushing. But that's where people get it messed up. Not that I condone robbing banks or anything like that, but I'm just saying, if you gonna do it, just like do it once, get enough money to where it's gonna last you, and just don't do it again, because you're gonna get caught, like, eventually. Anyway, so she tries to call him. I don't know why. I would have just packed up all my and moved to another country, but she tries to call him. She doesn't get any answer, and she doesn't hear from him. But 2-3 weeks later, she gets a call from prison. And Brian has been caught, and he is now with the feds, okay? And he calls her, and it's kind of like, I just wouldn't even want an explanation at this point. It's like, what can you really say? Like, your line of profession is not really something that I'm comfortable with. But, you know, so he kind of just says, like, you know, I'm sorry I didn't tell you. Like, I mean, how do you even tell somebody that? Like, yeah, I'm feeling you, but I be robbing banks and shit, so I hope you cool with that. Like, no, like, it is just not really something you can ever tell somebody. So he's like, yeah, you were a really good girl, and I really liked you, and there was pretty much no way I was going to tell you this, but now that I'm caught and now that you know everything, like, I guess, sorry, like, I don't really know what you say at that point. You know, of course, he was like, can we be friends and, you know, continue talking? Like, and she was like, no, bitch, like, you didn't even want me to go to church with you, and now you want me to sit up here and be your pen pal and write you and visit you, and no. You know, because he had gotten like something crazy, like 65 years, and he was like already 40. So it was like, you kind of just, it's over for you, you know? So that is so crazy. It's like, here I am thinking that you got a bitch and you wanted by the law, bitch, like the police, the boys in blue, like, you know, like that. So I don't know what I would do. What would you do? Like, that's wild, okay? So that is my story for the week. I hope you enjoyed it. That's probably the craziest one I've heard yet. So yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. I will see you next week, coves. Okay, bye.